will not believe what just happened. I was in my room. I was putting on highlight for this video. See my highlight? It's very highlight. I used the pink in the Alchemist palette. Like, there you go. Do with that information what you will. And so, all of a sudden, I heard this meow, and we hadn't seen my cat all day. So I turn, and my cat gave birth under my dresser. So I am filming this in my sister's room today. So this is just going to be like a mashup of all the story times of what has happened so far at school, and a lot of crazy stuff has went on so far, but I'm thinking after this I'll do like my dance stories from dance, because I took dance from the time I was about 2.5 to the age of 12, and then they sold my dance studio to someone else recently, so now I'm taking a musical theater class somewhere else. But so I'm thinking about doing stories from then, and I'll like do it while putting on my stage makeup and stuff, because let me just tell you, stage makeup is intense. If you can apply false eyelashes from the time you're 5, you know that you took dance classes. So let's get into the video. Okay, so the first story I'm going to tell is about my science teacher. So this is kind of a crazy story, so prepare yourself. So my science teacher was supposed to be really good. She helped the science Olympiad team, and a lot of people in my advanced classes were in the science team. So everybody loved her. And so about a month before school started, it was, I'd say about half a month, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before school started, she quit to go become like a nun or something. She went to become like a religious person in like a church, so she quit. So they had to find us a long-term sub quick. So they found this person who had just got out of college. So she was like, this was her first teaching gig. She had just dropped out of college. So she came to class the first day, and she was like, "Hi, I'm your new teacher, Miss blah blah blah, and I'm going to be your teacher until either they find a better teacher for you, or I don't want to be here anymore." She said that. So that was fine. But the next day, she didn't show up. She had only showed up that one day. And she did live kind of far. She lived about 30 minutes away from our school. So the way our schedules are arranged, there's the first class, and then the second class of the day, and then we go to like other classes like art, and then we come back to our normal classes. But we also have like classes where we don't learn anything, but we kind of, it's basically like recess and classes to help you succeed better in other classes. So she wasn't there for her first 2 classes or her first class for helping students succeed in recess and stuff. So she wasn't there, and then she called at about lunchtime and said, "I quit." So she had quit in the middle of the day after 1 day of school. So then we had all these long-term subs. So I lost a baby tooth in the science class, and our sub, it was a sub for a sub who was like our new long-term sub, but he's only going to be here for like a month until they find a new long-term sub, because it's just like insane, because nobody expected both of our teachers to quit. I'm sorry if you hear people talking in the background. My mom's telling the family about the kitty birth. So anyway, so I lost my baby tooth in front of her, and I was like, "I just lost my baby tooth," and she was like, "Okay, get back to work," which is fine. But then I asked if I could get water to rinse the blood out of my mouth. I said, "Can I get some water where I lost my baby tooth? Can I go get some water to rinse the blood out?" And she was like, "You get on my nerve, sit back down." So and then for my like art, foreign language class, like those, I have art this term, and I was in there with my friend, but I didn't know it. So it was the first day of school. I had no friends in my first class. I had one friend in my second class, but I had no friends in my third class, my fourth class, my 6th class or my 7th class, or the last 2 classes of the day. So I had, like, no friends in any of my classes. And I'm like, great, I'm not going to have any friends in this class either. So, no one's there that I know, except, like, people I know negatively. Like, my ex-best friend who I knew since, like, very small childhood's ex-boyfriend. And this one girl who just hates me for no reason. I don't even know why. She just hates me, but she's, like, nice to everyone else. I don't get it. But anyway... and so then I'm, like, freaking out. And then I hear the substitute be like, the teacher, not the substitute, still on my mind from the science substitute. And the teacher goes, what's for the fake name? Adrian, last name. I suck at naming Storytime characters, but I'll get better at it through time, I guess, maybe. I mean, the Gabby Show's still naming characters Llama, but... So then I'm like, oh my god, that's like my best friend. I know him from like 3rd grade from my businesses, because I had a bunch of businesses in like 3rd grade. I don't know why, honestly. I just really wanted to have a business. So anyway, then I'm like, oh my god, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, yes, my friend's in here. Or maybe his schedule got changed, because they were still like changing all the schedules, and I was like, oh, I guess he was in my class, but now he's not. And then in through the door comes Adrian, and so then she's like, okay, before I was rudely interrupted, next beside Adrian is Echo Nova. And I'm like, yes! And it was amazing. And it was like that for the first 3 classes, but then we talked too much, and then I got separated from him. And so I was at my other table, and I was between this one girl who literally came up to me and was like, are you an Asian? Because your skin's like really yellow and your eyes are really Asian looking. And this one guy who kept playing the knife game with the scissors, I had to keep confiscating the scissors from him. So I kept turning to Adrian and being like, ugh. So I got separated again. So now I'm on the other side of the classroom. And this is the last story of the day, probably. But this kid, the one who was my ex-best friend's ex-boyfriend, who cheated on her with a mutual friend of theirs' little cousin. Like, not little, but she was like a year younger than them. So it was hectic, so I wasn't allowed to be his friend, obviously, because it was like when I was still friends with this girl. And so, I killed a spider in art class, because spiders are terrifying and threatening, and I was like, it's a spider. It was like huge and threatening, and it like crawled up to me, and I was like, no, don't touch me, and I slapped it with a book. It was a spider. I did not like it. I do not like spiders. Spiders are bad, okay? So anyway, then the kid comes up to me and says, I'm writing a diss track about you after school because you're a murderer. You killed that spider. And I'm like, it was a large, threatening spider. I should be your hero. I murdered a spider. But anyway, no such luck. I guess I'll add one more story. So, this was my first day of art class. So I was still sitting beside Adrian. So we were sitting in art class, and I was like looking over all my friends' schedules before like I went to any classes. Any friend I saw in any of my classes, I read over their schedules so that I knew if I had any classes with them. So he had choir and gym, but he had it flipped from me, and I was like, one day if you would have gotten your gym differently, we would have been on the same gym and choir. And he was like, no, I have the same gym and choir. See, I'm a blah, 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 not a blah, blah, blah. Because they call it specific things at our schools, and I forget. But anyway, so he was like, see, I'm on choir the same days as you. And I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, trust me, I'm on that the same day as you. See, I can read my schedule. And I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, I trust you about as much as I trust Tana Mojo's Storytimes, but sure. So, and then he goes to choir with us. They're like calling out all the names, and he's sitting with us, and we're like, this is ballin'. We're gonna be sitting in choir all year. This is gonna be amazing. The only bad part is having to figure out who's like partners for gym. This is going to be amazing. And then he doesn't get called on the roster, and he goes up to the teacher, and I'm like, are you in this class? And he's like, no, why didn't you tell me from looking at my schedule? And I was like, so those were my back to school stories so far. I might make a part 2 of this if I get 5 thumbs up. So do that, please. And anyway, I'll make a part 2 if I have any good stories and I get 5 thumbs up. And please subscribe and like and comment because it helps my channel grow. And if you do subscribe, please turn on the notification because that helps my channel be put closer to the top and recommended more. So please do that. Bye. Bye.